Spread out too much?
Good afternoon. Today I'm here to tell you how to tack up a horse. Every good ride on a horse has to start with grooming and tacking. Preparing your horse for a ride requires that you groom the horse and fit all equipment to them properly to ensure a safe ride. Being a horse owner, I've spent many hours brushing, picking hooves, tightening girth straps. It is all essential to your comfort and the horses. Just like us humans, horses use their equipment daily. Nothing is worse than a pair of tight-fitting jeans when you're trying to work outside. Well, horses experience the same discomfort when a saddle is too tight. And let's not forget how awful we feel when we wake up in the morning and the hair is stuck to the back of our neck. Horses also suffer from bedhead, and combing their hair can keep them presentable. The easiest way to think of grooming and tacking up your horse is to relate it to getting ready in the morning. You do your daily grooming, then you pick out clothes that will work best for your day's activities. This process is the same for horses to ensure that they look their best and they will have tack that is suitable for the work they're performing. To start off, we start with grooming. Your first brush is a hard brush. This brush is used across their neck and can be used down to their knees but not below because this is a very tender area and not on their face. The hard brush pulls the dirt deep in their coat up to the surface. After the hard brush, you have a softer brush. You can use this on their face and below their legs, all over their body, and this takes the dirt that you've pulled up from the bottom of their hair to the surface, and this brushes it off and gives them a smooth complexion all over. Next is combing to get rid of that awful bed head that we all have. This is used on their mane and on their tails. And if you're working with a horse's tail, be sure to stand to the side of them and keep it in your hand at all times so they know that you're back there. And picking the hooves. This is probably the most important part of grooming. A horse's feet are essential to a good ride. And when you're picking their hooves, you need to check for any kind of injury. Tractor Supply advises that you always do this before riding, because if there's an injury or something, the horse could act up while you're riding and cause you to fall off or to have a bad ride. The next step is tacking up the horse. This is where you put the saddle on. You first pick out a pad, and since we're tacking up western, you'll use a western pad. Most of them will have a black patch right here at the top. This part goes at the top of the horse's withers or their shoulders. This area will be right about here where the bottom of their hairline is. So when you place it on them, you would open it up, come at them slowly, and place it right at the top of their withers. It's going to slide down a little bit, so that's why you want to make sure you place it up higher. State Line Tack recommends that you pull it up high enough that when it slides down, it pulls the hair down and it's not pushing their hair up, so they're not getting irritated or rubbed by the saddle. Next is the saddle, and we are going to be riding western today. And always make sure you pick a saddle that fits you. When you're sitting in the saddle, you should have a hand's width between the front of you and the front of the saddle. When you go to put on the horse, you should pick up your girth, lay it across, so you're not smacking the horse when you throw it over. Pick up your stirrup, and you can usually hook it right onto your saddle horn, and you will place it right behind that black patch on the top of their withers. The saddle should be directly in the center of their back, right behind that patch of hair. Then you can let down your stirrups and let down your girth. Once you've got your saddle on, next is tightening the girth. You will reach under the horse's belly, pull the girth around. You will untie your tie. Depending on how big or small the horse is, depends on how many times you'll have to loop it. Since we don't have a real horse, it's not going to fit quite as nicely. She'll loop it, and you'll make a T-knot. And when you first put on a girth, you can't make it as tight as possible because horses are going to puff their stomachs out a little. So before you ride, you want to walk them around some, they'll relax, and then you'll be able to tighten the girth up a whole lot more once you're about ready to get on. All right, and last is bridling. This is a Western bridle. Your reins, your headstall, the bit, and your chain. What you want to do when putting it on a horse, it will fit right behind their ears. You'll slide it over, and when putting a bit in, you have to be particularly careful. The ASPCA says that this is one of the main things that makes horses spooky is riders like to jam the bit into their mouth. That's the equivalent of taking a hammer to your teeth. So we have to be really careful. Take these two fingers, and you'll usually massage their gums and they'll open their mouth right up and you can slide it right in. And you'll have your reins over their neck. That way you can keep a hold of them and they won't walk off. And then your bridle will be placed securely on their head. You want to make sure that your throat latch is tight enough that you can put about 3 or 4 fingers under there. Make sure it's not choking them, but tight enough that your bridle won't slide off of their face. And the bit, since it fits right in the corners of their mouth, there should be about 2 wrinkles in the corner of their mouth. That way you know you're not pulling at the skin or ripping them. But it should be tight enough when you pull, you have contact immediately with their mouth. So when grooming and tacking up, you start with your brushes, pick the hooves, cut your mane, go to your pad, your saddle, tighten your girth, put on your bridle, carefully, carefully, carefully. That is the main thing. Make sure it's very carefully. And then you should be ready to ride. When you walk out to the ring, check your girth one last time to make sure it's nice and tight, and you will be ready to ride. Hope everyone has learned something from this, and now we all know how to tack up a horse.